Wonderful. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Today, we are going to be talking about STAR California Consortium Community Dialogue. My name is Jessica Hurtado. I'm the program supervisor for CVC-OEI, specifically work in student experience. Many of you may have already seen me in some of the webinars before. Today, we're specifically focusing on online tutoring and resources that have been available to you and looking at transitioning from CVC-OEI funding and the existing resources that are still available to all of our community colleges. And so today I'd like to work with all of my colleagues from LSI, and we have panelists here from different community colleges who will be speaking to you about the Pisces Platform and STAR California. So I'll hand it over to my colleague, Edward.
Thank you, Jessica. It's a pleasure to collaborate with CVC-OEI. My name's Edward Pollard. I work at Miracosta College and currently serve as the program director for STAR California. I'd like to welcome all of you, and I'm excited that you chose this time to join us. I know that it's a busy time of year, and it's in the middle of the day, so hopefully you're not zoomed out yet. And a couple of housekeeping pieces are, it is being recorded, what we're doing right now. The closed captioning is in the chat in terms of there is no closed captioning currently live, but we will have it in recording. And you can submit your questions and comments via the chat function. And as those questions come up, then we will integrate those into our presentation today. In terms of our agenda today, we will have an overview of the CVC-OEI happenings by Jessica Hurtado. And we'll have an overview with the data on STAR California, as well as Pisces, the overview, what's happening with Pisces. Vinny will be doing that. And Vinny Forese, sorry, I gotta say your last name. And the roundtable, we'll hand it over to Chris to moderate, Chris Bergeron from Lake Systems, and then we'll go back to myself with some cost and return on investment. And then we'll open it up for Q&A if we have some time. It is an hour, so we will be going through this, but the brunt of it will be the panel, the panelists, and they will speak to specific topics that they selected about a month ago. And we're ready to go. So back to you, Jessica.
Wonderful, thank you. So I want to talk a little bit about the focus of today's webinar. So today we will not go into too much detail about current funding and changes to resources that CVC-OEI is providing to community colleges, right? But I did want to make a note that we are aware, right, that many of our colleges have had recent changes, whether that is in allocated hours for net tutor, access to ongoing funding and things like that. I wanted to include these two memos that have gone out since the COVID situation, and so many of our conversations around transitioning from face-to-face to fully online. And so I wanted to make sure that you have access to the two memos from the Chancellor's office that explains what those changes are, why they happened, and what your college can do at this time with the resources that have been allocated. At the same time, I also want to make a point that the Pisces platform, it's stated in these memos that continues to be a free resource to all of our system. Okay, so the Pisces online platform is what you can use for your tutors, on-campus tutors, to provide online tutoring, right? It's a separate resource from the net tutor allocated hours that most of our colleges have also been using, okay? So you have two options here. We really highly encourage our colleges to really use Pisces as the main source of tutoring services and using NetTutor as a complementary tool, especially in efforts of conserving hours and looking at, budget needs And the other options that we're talking about today are also Star California, and looking at how that can be an option for your college as well, as you're looking to find sustainable practices for online tutoring. Right. And so I did include our website link. You can find all of the information regarding all of the recent changes, and you'll continue to see updates within that particular page, which is our expanded student support ecosystem services. And that is again on our CVC website. You'll have the latest information. There's a recent memo. The most recent memo actually talks about STAC, which is a new consortium for technology and purchasing tools for our system through college buys. And so that's very important for all of you to make a note that you will find information on how to do that within that site. Any questions that you may have today that are burning questions around, NetTutor or funding for your college or where your college is, I ask that you can please hang on to those questions. And I've also included our support@cvc.edu email. We can include that in the chat as well. Please forward any of those particular questions to that email, and both my colleague Karen and I will be more than happy to go into our questions and provide you all of those resources and individual information that you may need for your college. Okay, so now I invite my colleagues to continue with the conversation, and I'm here to provide any answers again through support at CVC. Thank you.
Vinny?
Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Just sort of, I got a few slides here that's just going to sort of review what we've accomplished so far with STAR, and just give you a little background. So we've been working in California going back about 15 years now. And then when OEI was originally formed, we were the tutoring platform and online tutoring partner that was selected in 2014. And then after that 5 years contract ran out, they, for transparency's sake, they put it back out to bid. And of course, we won again. And so here we are. I think this is, we're in our second or third year now of a 5-year term. The OEI, in addition to having some offering of online tutoring for the member schools, and then of course during the pandemic, the Chancellor's Office funded all online tutoring through CVC. They've also picked up a Pisces license, and they pay similar to how the state has other statewide licenses. OEI pays us, and then it's available to all community colleges, not just necessarily OEI members. We're installed right now at about 89 of the colleges. There's still a few who, for whatever reason, have decided not to do something with us, but for the most part, and that was, I mentioned, we have been doing business in the state for about 15 years. We probably had 8 or 9 colleges, customers, maybe 10 when we won the deal with CVC. So obviously this has been a great partnership for us, and we like to think a great partnership for the state. So the STAR platform has chosen it's only right now live drop-in tutoring. So STAR does not have paper drop-off because we know a lot of colleges aren't in favor of that, and we don't do any drop-off tutoring. Those can be available through NetTutor, through STAR at some colleges, but in general, the STAR platform is only live drop-in tutoring. And then of course, NetTutor is part of it, so that if your college has NetTutor, students would go to one spot. They could pick a local tutor, they could pick a STAR tutor, or they could jump on NetTutor depending upon the time of day. Just to give you an idea, we started this, the seed was planted actually, I want to say in 2018 at ACLA. In 2019 at ACLA, we started to seriously recruit and got Edward Pollert. I think he was just mistakenly the last guy in the bar one day, and so now we've trapped him into taking a leadership role with STAR. We started last fall with 9 members. Over the summer, we didn't stay open officially, but we just left it on to see if anybody wanted it, and 7 of the colleges still used it. We only had about 5 subjects, and so this fall we've grown a little bit. And, obviously meetings like this are designed to recruit and welcome new members because a new member would contribute just a small amount of tutoring, but didn't gain the resources of everything. And so this is just, yep, I was done with that slide. And then, as I'm sure you find on campus, or if you're doing online, or if you've ever used NetTutor, reading, writing, arithmetic is still the bulk of what students need help with. But as you can see here, what we've done is we've got a nice eclectic mix of subjects where some schools have an abundance of Italian tutors, so they can put them online, and other colleges might not have the ability to find those kind of tutors, or psychology or chemistry, things that, obviously reading and math, I think every college focuses on that. But you can just and this is not every subject per se, this is just sort of the most popular subjects. And you can see there's a pretty nice mix of how we're being used. So with that.
Thank you, Vinny. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Bergeron. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Learning Systems, and we're pleased to spend most of our time today with the panelists listed here. And so they'll each talk about different topics that will be prompted by Edward. So we'd like to welcome Catherine from College of the Redwoods, Reagan from Porterville College, Chelsea from Skyline College, and Ted from Mount San Jacinto. So Edward, would you like to start with Catherine?
Sure. Catherine and all the other panelists, thank you so much for volunteering and being a panelist. I think that's always crucial to have different voices and different perspectives, and also different regions from the community college system, as you see here on the screen. So Catherine is going to talk a little bit about budget and how the budget cuts at her college prompted her to go forward with Star California. And so Catherine, I'm just going to leave it over to you, and then you've got about 5 minutes to say your context. Thank you so much.
So College of the Redwoods is a very small college. Well, we're not one of the tiniest colleges. We're actually kind of middle of the pack normally. But since with the budget cuts, with the shutdown, our enrollment had a significant drop this semester. We're also extremely remote. So if you're not familiar with us, we're up in the far northern coastal California. Our district is about 10,000 square miles of mountains and bad roads, and students spread out all across that, even in good times. Now, we have not done much prior to this semester. We have not done much at all in the way of online tutoring. A lot of our students were perceived as being having technology insufficiencies. And it just was not something that we felt that we could explore. We also face challenges in getting tutors, even student peer tutors, because we are very isolated from other colleges. I mean, we have our college, CR, we have Humboldt State University down the road a ways, and barring our two institutions, it's 4 hours in both to the east or to the south before you get to another college. So our pool of available tutors is pretty much our own students if they've completed classes, or staff if we have staff, that if we can afford to hire staff, and given the budget situation, that's not always possible. I was interested in joining STAR last year. It didn't work out before the pandemic hit. So I jumped at the opportunity to join the consortium this semester. I do have a staff person working in our academic support center who is qualified in math. And Emily has been putting 4 hours a week this semester into tutoring statistics and algebra for STAR. In addition to her other duties, she works with our math lab as a math tutor and proctors tests and things like that for us in the academic support center. As in return, because we're putting 4 hours a week of paid staff time into providing services through the consortium, we're getting back availability of 78 hours a week of tutoring time in subjects all across the curriculum, including some subjects that I have a great deal of difficulty finding tutors for. For example, chemistry. There's chemistry, and our higher level biology classes always have a demand for tutors. And we had, we were able to provide only an hour or two of tutoring each week on chemistry. That is now, significantly greater because of the availability of STAR. So this is a service that I really hope we'll be able to continue to be part of for a long time moving forward. Since we have not done much with online tutoring, we're actively working on getting our online tutor training beefed up. And we're looking to have tutors that we can use, where we can use Pisces for on-campus online tutoring as well, starting with spring. So this has been a real help as we try to revitalize our tutoring services for the new era and the new reality. And I'm going to back off at this point because I have a slightly unstable internet connection, and I'll be here to answer questions if anybody has them. But for now, I'm going to hand it over to, or let Edward hand it over to the next person.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Appreciate your narrative and really the context of a smaller college that is in rural California, I would say. So appreciate your sharing. Please put any questions in the chat, and we'll go to our next panelist, and that will be Ms. Reagan Dozier. And she's going to talk about how to leverage STAR California for her college. Reagan just joined us not too long ago. So Reagan, please.
So good afternoon, everyone. So for Porterville College, if you guys know anything about Porterville College, it is a small rural community college. It's about northeast of Bakersfield. And we have a very small student population, pretty isolated from four-year universities. And what we particularly were looking for when we joined STAR CA was that we needed access to more tutors, but we don't have the ability fiscally to support additional tutors within our own campus. So with this past year, with the pandemic going on, it taught us a lot about access and ability for students to have access to internet. The data droughts that we're all experiencing with some of our students is exacerbating issues of basic needs like housing, cost of living. And for us, we have to start looking forward beyond just what's going on with the pandemic. What's the next steps after, potentially if there is a, after the pandemic, what it is that we can do, what the future of our campus is going to look like, and how can we maintain these services that we were able to utilize our COVID funds in order to sustain for our students, because now they're going to expect these services since they were able to receive them now that they were taking the online courses. So what we believe the answer is to this question is joining the STAR CA Consortium and participating in an exchange of tutors. And the astronomical amazing ability that we are able to do this, and that we can have one of our tutors participate, but then receive so many benefits of the amount of hours from the other tutors for our particular campus that is so landlocked and so secluded from other colleges and universities. So that's for our particular, what we see moving forward is that this is the future for California, particularly creating a consortium that can speak on behalf of, all of our tutoring and our learning center services is what I'm hoping in the future that we'll see, because learning centers are equity in action. We help and assist students where they're at in order for them to get to the level that is necessary in order for them to pass their courses. And we want to make sure that we're a strong consortium of colleges and start thinking of, particularly as the CVC-OEI website is changing, transforming, and we're seeing that our courses are all going to be online within one area, that these are all our students and that together we can move forward and we can help each other with these new fiscal concerns that are going to come through the next coming years.
Thank you so much, Reagan. Appreciate your perspective and really talking about equity as a way to reach all students at all levels. So appreciate that. I'd like to now turn to Ms. Chelsea DeBarra, and she's from Skyline College, where she'll talk a little bit about how the preparation of going online with the pandemic at the onset, and then also ensuring equity and access. So Chelsea, please take it away.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chelsea DeBarra, and I'm at Skyline College. Just a little bit of background. We joined the consortium in February 2020. I like to think maybe I was clairvoyant and knew we were going to need this backup plan, but I wasn't. But it has served us very well. We contribute 6 hours right now of a writing tutor. And as I look at the data, we're getting closer and closer to getting sort of a return on our investment. A couple of things that, I think to keep in mind is the tutor that we have donated hours for is a very capable tutor, one that we don't feel like we have to manage a lot, and that has made this transition or this contribution really easy and great. So once he was up and running, it's been pretty seamless. We have about 80, someone just asked how big is Skyline College? We have about 8,800 credit students. I think for this fall is what I saw on our fact sheet. So another piece of this, we are fully up and running as an online learning center, as an in-house online learning center. And we have, we've brought back about 80% of our students from compared to fall 2019. So we have a lot of usage, a lot of participation. But of course there are limitations on, personnel hiring, budget, and, some of our tutors couldn't come back because they didn't necessarily have the technology. But the way we set it up is we first encourage our in-house tutoring, right? And then we ask, then we market Star California and then Net Tutor after that. So we've sort of tiered services. Some of the benefits, we are able to provide. So this semester we've had a terrible time getting a biology tutor. Our biology tutor didn't have the access to technology that she needed to stay on with us. So, we're able to use Star California, Net Tutor for areas where maybe we have gaps. We are also able to provide access to academic support outside the scope of our hours. So we're open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then on Friday until 2:30. But Star California just adds a little bit more access for our students who may be working during the day or helping with virtual school during the day. So that we've seen really a benefit in that. And then again, personnel and hiring is always, every semester that is a huge lift for us. And this kind of, again, adds support for students, takes some of the pressure off of us a little bit to have this other service. And I really do see that we will have a return on the investment soon as more schools join. As more schools join the consortium. So I really believe that this is going to be very helpful for us in the future. So in terms of, I want to kind of talk about returning to in-person, which I know we're all thinking about, but it's not, it's not happening for a while, at least for us. But as we return to in-person, I, as the Learning Center manager, am going to have to think about, I think Catherine and I think, and Reagan both touched on this, how will we support students, because the expectation will be that we'll have online tutoring. We were moving in that direction anyway. So how do we do that with our budgets, our personnel limitations, our management capacity? How do we do all of this? Because if there's, I think a lot of probably Learning Center people feel this way, but there's an expectation to be sort of everything to everyone, and we want to do that, right? That's who we are. So as we move forward, I've been thinking about how do we continue our in-house online services. Then we will have our brick and mortar services, but Star California is definitely going to be a large part of how we continue to provide more equity and access to our students who are, again, night students, families, that sort of thing. It's been invaluable for us now. So we're going to continue to support that. We'll continue to encourage our in-house tutoring, but then again, supporting students and providing services outside of our hours that we can support them, and then outside of disciplines that we just can't find tutors to cover areas. And it's really a way for us to reasonably provide more access and impact on a limited budget. So with that, I can.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you.
That was very comprehensive, and appreciate the perspectives that you put out there, especially that one where when we do go back, and how this is not a temporary solution, this is actually one of the components that you'll continue. So I appreciate that perspective. Ted Blake from Mount San Jacinto, you're up next. Take it away.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Ted Blake from Mount San Jacinto College. It's in Southern California. If you don't know where that is, we're kind of in between LA and San Diego, but inland. So not by the beach, unfortunately, but it's not far, about an hour. I've been Learning Center coordinator as a faculty member for the last 15 years. And, we were lucky. We started online tutoring several years ago, actually with Smart Thinking, and now we've moved over with Link Systems and Net Tutor, and been very happy with that change. And so we kind of created a climate before COVID, and I think many of you have, I think it just wasn't discussed, of, having these services available online. And one of the things I thought I would mention to everyone is the importance of this for your accreditation. We really need to have, we have a pretty large online distance ed program. We've always had that ever since Pat James was my dean. Some of you may be familiar with her. She's been really, she's part of the beginning of the CVC-OEI program and initiative. But so having that, we really needed to offer our services equally to our students and have that access. So, that's something to think about. When I did my program review a few years ago, I secured permanent ongoing funding for online tutoring, mostly because of it. We were going into an accreditation year, and I think that's important to all of us. But I do want to circle back to what Reagan said about equity in action. We are one of those sites for equity in action. I'm taking, I don't know if any of you have taken or are taking the Supporting Men of Color training from Luke Wood and Frank Harris. I took the Teaching Men of Color like 5 years ago, and now I'm in the Supporting Men of Color. And the way we equitize a student's experience is to, we provide that support. We create that welcoming atmosphere. And to me, in our program, one of the ways we do that is by having current MSJC student peer tutors available on the other end of that line. And that's a really important way. I believe it's so thorough in terms of the equity, because it's not only equity for those students, especially, we have a separate tutoring program for Emoja at our campus. But for the student tutors themselves, they are, and this, sure, kind of an obvious point, right? But the students, they feel valued when they're serving. We've had many students, they make that transition to become a peer tutor. And because we use current students, that door revolves pretty quickly. Once they transfer out, we replace, and it gives new students an opportunity to have that experience. So working in Star California, they have an even wider experience working with with a wider range of students. And so I just got an email, I kind of had emailed, we're contributing 4 student tutors right now. And one of the ways we're giving those student tutors a chance to kind of become empowered as tutors, feel valued. I think about the RP group, Student Success Factors. And there was a publication my colleague Vandana Gavaskar and Darla Cooper put out about 10 ways to, it's about tutoring, and it kind of intersects with those success factors. And that's really important. So kind of teeing off of what Chelsea said, we're using Star California in pretty good numbers. And one of the ways we've leveraged it is for our student tutors are doing evening hours for the most part, not all of them, but in terms of when they were available, we kind of slotted them in the evening, and that extends the opportunity for our student tutors to tutor other students. So we have 4 tutors. I think they each have 6 hours a week. I can't remember exactly. I should have looked it up. I'm sorry, but we're contributing a lot, but we're also getting a lot out of it. Our numbers are high on both sides. And I asked Arthur, one of our tutors, have you been tutoring a lot of folks from other colleges? And he said, I've recognized a lot of MSJC professors in there, but I know they're working with, but it's kind of seamless. This is peer-to-peer help. And the evenings are great because our center closes at 7 p.m. And so we're able to offer our students that 7 to 10 p.m. slot. We focus mostly on STEM. With the students, we've contributed chemistry and biology, which it's good because Catherine and Chelsea were both talking about that there's a need. And we knew from our numbers that was always a need. It kind of doubles back to us too. The more experience students get working with students in other curriculum, in other colleges, the more it comes back in ways they can help our students too during the daytime when we're collecting apportionment, because they've worked with a wide range and they may be seeing some new things. So it helps them be adaptable. And that's one thing I would mention too. We're an apportionment collecting college. So we use, but we're only collecting for our one-on-one appointments during the days the times we're open, right? So Star California extends the peer-to-peer connection that our students can have. But it lets, at 7 p.m., I'm kind of off the clock, so to speak. I'm still available to students if they need help, something comes up, but we haven't had any issues with Star California. But that's been a really good fit for us, just to extend that open time. And like Chelsea was talking about, and Reagan, we are, I believe we're making learning visible to students. And that's a key part of what equity is all about. We're trying to restore justice to many of our students who haven't succeeded before. And that tutor relationship is one of the things cited in the Supporting Men of Color training that really makes a huge difference. And not only that, but having a positive experience coming in. That experience needs to be positive at the start so that students come back. And we've really found like our student tutors are really committed. The Star California tutors are committed. So our student numbers show that students are coming back. We've got a lot of hours, and we've worked really hard to have that kind of climate at our college, as many of you are too. So I think that's most of what I had to say. I'm just looking over my notes just to make sure I didn't miss anything, but we'll have some Q&A. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, and hey,
Thank you.
Ted, I just want to say
Thank
there
you,
was a
Ted.
question about supporting men of color. If you would maybe in the text chat area while we're talking, just maybe type some more thoughts down there. Somebody posted a link to it, but any information you have, I think people are interested in that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I would recommend I'll link you to the Cora website. It is some copyrighted material, but the Supporting Men of Color is a really important resource. Our college is offering it to us, and I took the Teaching Men of Color. Like I said, it's a web-based program, but there is a book associated that you can get, which is great. And it really talks about, for us in the service field, in the learning assistance field, how important a part we play in that. So it's really great research, all research based.
Yeah, I think
I'll
Ms.
put that in.
Ms. Donna Cooper posted the link in there, coralearning.org.
Yeah, so that's great. That's it. So, and
That's
she may be in the same cohort I'm in right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully.
So it's in there right now already. So thanks for that question, and thanks for the response. We'd like to get to questions. I'd like to just, people talked about the investment. And so what you have, first of all, let's just thank the panelists, however you do that in Zoom, because we often don't do that. So there's reactions, you know, in the chat, etc. Acknowledgement and affirmation is really critical, even with administrators, faculty, and especially students. So do that right now. Take a moment. We're just like kids, folks. And so as you do that and say your thanks, the investment of a tutor. So for instance, one tutor for 3 hours a week goes into Star, California, for a 32-week, 2 16-week semesters at about $15 an hour. The investment is about $1,400 for the academic year for 3 hours a week. What you get back is live hours is 185 hours per week. And so that amounts to about $88,000 in terms of the return that you're not spending. You're spending $1,400 and the return is 96 hours total, right? For $1,400. And then the return is you're getting almost 6,000 hours back. And so that's a huge increase in terms of percentage. But most importantly, what I'll add to this is that the tutors, I think people mentioned it, the panelists mentioned it, is the tutors get work and they get to, you know, the most senior tutors are in Star, California for my college. And they're trained already because we're a CRLA training certified site. And then they get trained in Star. And so they're really double trained, they're experienced. And that's what Star California is getting right now, is our most experienced tutors are in the platform. And so for a college that is dealing with budget and dealing with lack of resources, and that might stay for a while, this is a great investment. You know, if this was a regular budget piece in my family, I would say 6,000%, I'm in, right? And so I really encourage you to explore that. Next slide, Chris. And so, Chris, you want to talk about how to join, and then we're going to veer to Q&A. Some of them are in the chat, and we'll address those to the panelists as well as to myself, Vinny, and Chris. So, Chris, take it away. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Edward, and thank you to all of our panelists for participating today, for everybody who's joined us, and especially to the CVC-OEI for organizing this event, but also for funding the Pisces license, which is the platform that Star CA uses. So, you know, we jumped into the session without spending too much time describing what Star CA is. And so all these member colleges contribute their tutors' hours, and then they get back the full schedule of availability. So these are all CCC tutors available to CCC students. And it's really simple to join, and I help coordinate that with Edward, who's our director. So we have what's called a participating institution agreement. This is a form that says you basically promise to contribute the hours so that we can turn it on and give you access to the full schedule. And we've had everyone from presidents of colleges, deans of student success, and the tutoring or learning center coordinators sign that PIA. So it's really straightforward. Then you'll tell us what your tutors are going to be available to tutor. And, you know, some of our colleges contribute more hours and some contribute less hours. It's really what fits into your schedule. Maybe in the future, we'll have a formula for how contribution is meant to work. But for now, it's everybody is welcome to do what they can, to contribute what they can. And then we provide training. So we provide both technology training and online tutoring training. I used to be a calculus tutor, and I can tell you, sitting next to somebody, getting the physical cues, recognizing that they're distracted, those are things that are just different about online tutoring. And maybe a year ago, you all didn't have the same understanding, but now you do, right? Everybody's online, everybody's recognizing that it's different, not impossible, just different. And so we provide that training in self-paced modules, webinars that the tutors can join, and weekly discussions with the tutors so that they can just sort of bring their worries or their frustrations to a group of peers. We call them jam sessions. And then we turn on Star CA. What we've done for the short term is make that link to NetTutor just switch over to show Star CA Pisces if you're using it for your tutors, and NetTutor. So it would still say NetTutor on the side of your Canvas installation. We can let you reinstall that. It just involves your LMS team, and they've been so busy this year. We wanted to find a way to turn it on without burdening your LMS team. So when I turn this back over to Edward and Vinny, who will handle Q&A, I will upload some documents. I'll upload the PIA. I'll upload an FAQ document that explains where to go for more information and some of the questions that we get asked all the time. And then at the end of the deck will be contact information for Edward and for our support at CVC friends, so that anybody who has any other questions can follow up after the webinar.
Thank you, Chris. Vinny, have you been scouring the questions? I know there's several dialogues happening in the chat, which is always tricky to
I'm tearing it up down here.
Okay. Are there any questions we want to put into public space at this time that have not been answered on the chat, or that we want to actually put out there so that we can actually record it?
No, you know, I would think the one thing is, Chris, I don't know if we talked at all about training, but there's a couple questions on there about oversight and training and things like that. Maybe you could talk to that a little bit.
Yes, so I can share that our training includes self-paced modules, and the topics that are covered are listed in our FAQ document. And then we have weekly webinars that go through the functionality of Pisces and how to be a tutor on the platform. And then we provide those jam sessions, which are, you know, it's a safe space for tutors to go. And we actually ask managers not to join, although you're welcome for transparency's sake. But we like the tutors to be able to interact with each other. Our NetTutor tutors host those jam sessions. So it's really a relatable space. They can share with you what they're doing with students, tips and tricks, how to use Pisces, that kind of stuff. And I also want to mention that Pisces is there for your campus tutors as well. And all of those trainings are also available to your tutors. So we've made all of that training available to the entire system.
And Chris, I'm going to jump in here and say, I think I alluded to that in my part of the presentation. We are going to be training all of our peer tutors for the campus to use Pisces, because we expect we'll still be doing primarily online tutoring for spring, even though more of our classes will be returning to campus. So, you know, that platform works really well, and I'm looking forward to getting students on it, whether they're working just with our students or whether they're actually contributing to the consortium.
Catherine, I think you wanted to answer another question. I think it might have been about the marketing question.
Oh, no, it wasn't about the marketing as much as the contribution of hours. I think we're probably, like I said earlier, we're probably one of the smaller schools in terms of what we were able to contribute. And that's one of the reasons it was such a huge benefit to us, is that we're only able to put in about 4 hours a week currently of tutoring time. And for that, we get full access, our students get full access to the schedule of consortium tutors and availability. We have more tutoring available for our students ourselves through the math lab and our writing assistance center, which are not integrated into using Pisces. And starting next semester, we're going to be restructuring so that all of our tutoring is happening through the same platform. We had already started for the semester without that, and I didn't want to switch in the middle of the term, but we'll be integrating all of that over and using Pisces for all of that tutoring. And some of those hours will be part of the consortium, but most of them will be for our campus students. So just a different way of doing it. And no, I see somebody was asking about, do star hours count against the allotted net tutor? No, they don't, because we're not using net tutors services. We're only using the platform. The only hours that we pay for net tutor are the hours when our students have to contact a tutor at net tutor.
So
Thank you.
I'd like to
Kathy.
just, Edward, if I could just, and I just want to reiterate that right now, there's no minimum requirement. So if you could,
three
hours
hours,
on,
well, three,
4
at least 3, we'd love 6.
at least obviously as many as you could. It would be up to the members to decide if at some point there would be a minimum, or if there's a calculation. Now, we also work with Star New York, and they've been going at it about 10 years now. And they do every year look at how many hours your students used. And then they have sort of a formula where they ask the colleges to try to contribute at least proportional, so that the small schools presumably would use less and therefore they can get away with less. But that would be up to the member schools. And I just want to get it out there. And then the other thing, Chris and Edward are in the panel. There's been several questions about what are the supervision obligations at your school, and what exactly and how do you, Edward and Ted and all you guys, what is your responsibility in terms of supervising the tutors that you're putting on STAR? Because that question has come up several times in the chat.
I can address that. I have 2 tutors in STAR. I had 4, some graduated. And the folks have access to me in terms of supervising. I'm not in their sessions. They do their tutoring on Saturday morning, Saturday night, in the early morning, in the early evening during the week. And so I'm available to them if anything were to arise in terms of any issues. But they are also trained to cut off issues in terms of if there's any microaggressions that are uncomfortable, where the tutor gets put in a situation, if there's any, if there's any issues such as that are not professional, they have the right to finish that session and not continue if they're getting harassed, etc. So if we're looking at those extremes, our tutors are empowered to do that, to stop the session, and I will back them up 100%. And so I think you have to have that dialogue with your tutors that you put in. The training, again, it's not a rookie tutor who just got hired, yesterday, and then we're throwing him into STAR. It's someone who's got at least a year experience, is vetted already through us, and has the skill set to manage sessions, to do probing questions, to get underneath the question of the question, so that we have experienced folks doing that. But supervision for us is really a phone call away. And that's how I do it with our tutors. Other panelists, how might you do supervision?
I was going to mention that it's very similar to what we're currently doing with our online, our current model that we have. What we are planning to do, because we just joined the consortium, is that, again, we're going to be available, of course, via email, phone, for the tutors if there's any sort of issues that come up. But also we utilize, I don't know if everyone does, we utilize a Navigate software, and that's software that helps us to indicate what kind of appointments the student has, what kind of questions that they have. And it's kind of how we're able to provide overall support services through academic support services and student services. So our students are trained to indicate and put in all their students that they assist. Even through STAR CA, they'll include these students too as outside of our service area. And then we indicate what they help the student with, and then they give a detailed report about that particular student. So we know what goes on in the sessions, and then we can review and then evaluate the student based on what's indicated. So that's the way that we indicate and do the supervision, but it's primarily what we're kind of doing right now, which is that, you have that open dialogue with those particular tutors, and the fact that it will be a tutor who is, we call them leads in our programs. Leads within those programs would be the ones who participate in this.
Other panelists, how you might do supervision? Yeah, Ted.
I can pitch in just real quick. I mean, we have a few layers of this, but the STAR California, it's a little bit more on me because the staff who we've got, who I'm coordinating with during the daytime, we've been having good luck using Discord, which some of you may have set up something similar with your tutors. So that just pops up on my phone. They obviously, these folks also have my phone number, but Discord is sometimes just better for the quick interaction. And then that way the other STAR tutors can see if there's like a technical thing that they're asking about and they get the answer. So that's, I just was going to add that in there. That's a good way to do it kind of in the moment quickly. But because we're not collecting apportionment, I just wanted to clarify that. You know, this is not apportionment eligible for us. So really it's just making sure the tutor feels safe. I'm not supervising it the way I would during the daytime with the apportionment hours. So, yeah.
Thanks, Ted.
I'd like to add that from the administrative point of view, Learning Systems and NetTutor also provides the ability to review any session, shares data with the members. And then we're also going to have a committee that will be a quality assurance committee. So there will be a select number of members who will have more access to the sessions and be able to provide that feedback to campus supervisors. And last but not least, we also have a main point of contact for technical support. I think you can all relate to the fact that things go sideways sometimes outside of the help desk hours. And so we do give a cell phone number from one of our lead technicians so that the STAR CA tutors have that support outside of normal operating hours.
Other questions that are popping up? Vinny, anything else you see?
I think most of them got answered with links or with other details.
I think there's one here that says, so is there no line of sight supervision? I think it depends on the hours and the hours of your center, the supervisor's hours, or the staff that is part of that process. So I think it really is dependent upon your center and how you put your tutor in and at what times, etc. And when your centers are open or not, you know, if it's not part of your apportionment data, then it's what Ted was saying in terms of it's really if there's any issues that come up for safety issues or just, you know, complex issues that they need consult with. So.
And I will add that Pisces has a supervisor role so that if you're using Pisces with your own tutors, you do have line of sight. It's something that we worked on with the foundation back in 2014. But because the STAR CA groups all come into the same space, we haven't distributed that individual access yet. That's what Edward has access to and Learning Systems has access to. But we do intend to figure out how to give the campus supervisors access to be able to review their sessions for their tutors.
Panelists, did you want to address anything else that may have not come up, whether it be the questions or in your own presentation that you maybe skipped over because you were on a timer? We still have about 5 minutes left and then we'll close it up. But if there's anything else you wanted to add as panelists.
There was a question about marketing.
Oh, yes.
So I just didn't know if you're not a Pisces school or a NetTutor school, it might just help there. You know, when students are going into, you know, we're having it integrated with our LMS, which is Canvas. And so students, and we market this to faculty as well, they see three options. They see Pisces, they see STAR California, and they see NetTutor. And so we explain the differences there. So there's kind of 3 layers of support, and depending on, like we have 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. in Pisces. STAR California is its schedule. So it's kind of available all the time, and so is NetTutor. But we encourage faculty and students to use Pisces first option and then the other 2. And so that's where I was talking about in the evening, they'll go to those others. But that's just helpful in terms of, I just thought if that's a lot of how we use it, it's laid out that way. So I'll leave it at that, but it's not a presentation on that, but that's kind of how it's clarified to people.
And I wanted to add that for our particular college, we're going to have it enabled on all of our Canvas courses at Porterville College. So it's basically for us in particular, ours is going to say online tutoring instead of, usually I think it's online tutoring hub is what some colleges set up. And within that, it will have the link to our virtual learning center, then Star CA, and then it's Net Tutor. So it's listed so that you can better explain to faculty what it is going to do on your course, on their course in particular, but ours will automatically be on each of the faculty's Canvas course.
And I
Well,
just
see-
wanted to chime in. I uploaded the FAQ and the PIA to the chat as a file. I also uploaded the PowerPoint deck to the chat as a file. And so I'll let Edward and then Jessica close it out.
I'll cede to Jessica before we put the last page up for contact information, but I want you to hold off on that because I think I want to see faces, not the PowerPoint. And Jessica, do you have anything else you would like to add to this?
Yeah, no worries. I just want to thank everyone for your time. I know that you have tons of Zoom meetings every day. It could get overwhelming, but I really, truly appreciate your time to come in and to participate in this webinar. And to all of our audience, we are here to support you, to answer any questions, provide any resources. So please, again, know that we're all working together to provide as much support as we can. Please also keep in mind, I know that there was a comment regarding the information for, I think, Ted, you shared that from Cora. I also want to make sure that you guys are aware that we've had webinars as well that we've hosted through CVC that focus on equity and online tutoring. We have a specific YouTube channel where you can review or watch those recordings from our previous webinars. If you have any questions or would like access to that as well, again, support at CVC is the way to go. Send us any inquiries there and we're happy to connect you with the resources. We're also working on developing continued support. Spring semester will be a whole new start, right? A whole new year. So we're looking at other ways to provide and to continue providing support in any way that we can, whether that's resources, webinars, just anything that we can continue to provide for online tutoring. So please keep us in your bookmarks, cvc.edu, to see any upcoming events or resources that we have available to you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jessica, and thank you to CVC-OEI for sponsoring this webinar. Appreciate it. Chris, can you put up the screen? I know there's some other questions. I know there was a question, somebody wanted to see how it works, how the interface works from a student's point of view. I'll be happy to walk you through that. I think that was Darren, possibly. So just go ahead and contact me at epollard@start-california.org. If you have any other questions, we would love to hear from you. If you're ready to join, please contact us so that we can make that happen. Other than that, I thank all the panelists, Jessica, Chris, Vinny, and all of you who took the time to join us today. Thank you so much. Peace out.